Hamas is said to be considering a new proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel has accepted a plan. Israel hasn't confirmed this, but Israel has long insisted the Palestinian militant group must be eliminated and continues to pound Gaza. For civilians, the conditions are only getting worse.
Another day of grief and desperation in Gaza after more deadly strikes. This time, a hospital director, Marwan As-Sultan, was among those killed. Dr. As-Sultan was known for his dedication to caring for those in need at one of northern Gaza's key medical centers. Now he's dead, along with several of his family members. Israel's military says it struck a Hamas terrorist in the area and was reviewing reports that uninvolved civilians were harmed. His daughter, meanwhile, is demanding peace.
The war must stop. Enough. I call on everyone to intensify everything they can do to alleviate the situation.
Their bodies were brought to what remains of Al-Shifa hospital. The Israeli military has heavily targeted the facility throughout the war, saying Hamas terrorists have been hiding among civilians there. Now, doctors are struggling to treat patients in the terrible conditions.
We receive approximately 100 to 150 patients per hour. Operations are running 24 hours a day. Some people die on the operating table, others die on the floor of the emergency room. Most injuries require medical intervention, and most injuries require medical supplies. As an orthopedic specialist, those supplies aren't available.
Hamas has yet to comment on the latest ceasefire proposal. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already ruled out any deal that includes Hamas in Gaza's post-war future.
I'm telling you, there will not be a Hamas. There will not be a Hamastan. We're not going back to that. It's over. We will release all of our hostages. We will win. There will not be a Hamas.
As diplomacy stalls, those caught in the middle keep paying the price.
Let's talk about this with our correspondent in the region. Emily Gordine joins us now from Jerusalem. Emily, walk us through what you know about the new proposal for a ceasefire.
Well, the exact details of this proposal, they still remain fairly unclear, and it's pretty certain that the two sides will still have to work out the specifics, let alone a permanent end to this war. But what seems to be on the table at this point is a 60-day ceasefire that will include the release of 10 living Israeli hostages and the release of the bodies of 18 deceased Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinians held in Israeli jails. Now, this is somewhat different to the proposal that was put on the table in May, because these hostages will be released in 5 tranches. The proposal in May wanted to see the release of all of the remaining hostages essentially by the end of the first week. So there is some softening here, it seems, on the way and the amount of hostages that are going to be released. Now, Trump himself has said that Israel has agreed to the details of this proposal, or the broad outlines of this proposal. We are waiting for Hamas to issue a response. They still have questions over humanitarian aid as well as the withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip, it seems. But generally speaking, there are reports that they are satisfied with the guarantees that have been put on the table to end this war permanently, and also satisfied with assurances from the mediators that both sides will not resume fighting as long as negotiations continue.
Some argue that the Israelis have softened their stance. Why?
Well, I think that really comes down to the way the hostages are dealt with. We won't see, according to this plan, the release of all hostages, as was suggested in May, but instead we're seeing only about 10 living hostages, as well as the release of the bodies of 18 deceased hostages over the course of 60 days. But that being said, Netanyahu has denied this kind of allegation, if you want. He has said that Israel will press on to make sure that they will, quite fundamentally eliminate Hamas. Of course, this is also coming, though, at a time when there is some pressure from the Americans to end this war. This comes a week. Next week, Netanyahu is expected to visit the US. Trump himself has called this war a very brutal war, making some think that he wants to see an end to this war, essentially. And of course, this also comes after the Americans joined Israel in striking Iran's nuclear facilities only a week ago. So there is some pressure in the US at the moment to get Israel certainly to the table.
That was Emily Gordine in Jerusalem. Many thanks, Emily.